run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in this shade. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing in their way. you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed. Let me bleed. Let me. All of the pain seems to follow like a shadow, dark and cold to the touch. Am I insane not to let go? Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you.
All right, if you're with us online, go and get your space set up. We're about to get started.
As I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed.
All right, welcome to Pump. If you're here with us online and this is your first class, oh, sure. And we can all go a little bit, scoot over, we'll scoot a little bit closer together and make a little bit more space. If we ever have enough people that the 2 rows isn't enough, we'll get closer together, scooch that way, and we can fit a 3rd row in here as well. But if you're with us online or with here in person, thanks for being here today. A little bit about the Pump class format. So if this is your first time, so how this class operates is we'll go over all the movements before we start, so don't worry too much about that. The first class of the session is always a little bit shorter than normal. We're going to do some bracing and movement education just to start, kind of go over some of those basics, make sure we got those down. But we'll start with a 6-minute warm-up. 6-minute warm-up, and then we'll go into the workout. And so the workout structure for this class is, today's a little bit different, like I said, but normally we'll have 4 rounds that we do within this class, okay? Each round is going to consist of 2 movements that we're going to superset 4 times, okay? So what that looks like, let's say we're in round 1, we'll do movement 1 for 30 seconds, go right into movement 2 for 30 seconds, that's 1 set. We're going to go right back into movement 1 again for 30 seconds, into movement 2 for 30 seconds, that's that 2nd set, right back into movement 1, into movement 2. So we're going to do that 4 times, that'll be 1 round done, and you'll get a 1-minute rest period, and then we'll move on to round 2. And then we'll have a 6 to 10 minute cool down stretch routine at the end and send you on your way home. So for the movements that we have today and the equipment, I'll always have that up on the board if you're here in person when you come in. The weight is kind of subjective. You'll start to learn the movements and know kind of what weight you want to choose. You can choose 1 or 2 different weights. If you're at home or online, it's right there in the description when you go start class, so you can find it within that spot. If you don't have that equipment, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. I'll give you alternatives that you can do if you don't have weight. So today, dumbbell, medium-ish weight, mat. The first, it's not really going to do a round. We're just going to do the education. We're going to have 3 rounds today. But the first movements that we're going to do, the first one is shoulder press. And before we get into that, we'll start with some of that bracing education. So Hopefully everybody got the chance to watch Optimize Your Movement before coming to class. If not, that's okay. We're going to kind of go over a bit of that content from it. If you haven't, feel free to check that out. So when we think of bracing and bracing strategies, the biggest reason we want to make sure that we're braced is when we're not, our bodies are super efficient as being really lazy. The body wants to survive, conserve as much energy as possible. So a lot of times if you see somebody standing at the grocery store in line relaxed, you'll see the knees popped out, the hips drop forward, the shoulders dropped, and kind of standing in just a relaxed position. Right now, none of my muscles are really activated. They're just kind of resting on the joints. And so that's not great. We think of the wear and tear. We want our muscles to support us, protect our joints. And so if we're not in that braced position, we can do a lot of wear and tear in those areas over time. Especially when we come to lifting, if we have any plyometric jumping movements, we're lifting more weight than normal, that's going to put a lot more strain into those areas if we're not braced. So really we're doing it to prevent injury down the road, as well as you can get a lot more, I guess, performance in a shorter amount of time, making sure you're moving in the right ways and being braced, okay? So bracing sequence, I'm going to take whatever your normal stance is. The first thing with the bracing sequence is squeezing your glutes. So go ahead and squeeze and release your glutes a couple times and see if you can feel your hips shift a little bit. Sometimes it's helpful if you have your hands on them. You can kind of feel a little bit better of that shift that's happening. So usually, some people have pretty neutral pelvis, but a lot of times the front is tipped forward a little bit. So when you're here, if you squeeze your glutes, you notice it kind of pulls up a little bit. That's normal. You can almost think of your hips like a bowl holding water, and water is just kind of slowly pouring out the front a little bit with that angle that you have. So when we squeeze those glutes, we're leveling out that pelvis, okay? Once those glutes are squeezed, think of lifting your pelvic floor up into your stomach, your bladder up into your stomach. You can kind of feel a slight pull on right above your belt line. So right above wherever the shorts or pants would hit, okay? So glutes are squeezed, pelvic floor is up and in. Think of tightening the core all around that transverse abdominis, everything in there. You can almost think of like tightening a corset, just pulling everything really strong and tight in. From that, shoulder blades slightly back and down, head up in that neutral position, okay? Once you're fully braced, everything's lifted up, held in strongly, you can release those glutes, take a step or two around. You don't need to be too firm, too stiff, and then go ahead and release all of that bracing. You can kind of feel there's a little bit of, it's not huge, but you can feel that slump, that drop, that like from a position like this more into a position like this. It's not a huge change. So one, that's going to be the difference between those two. So let's get back in real quick. So remember, we're going to engage the glutes, pelvic floor up and in. You'll feel that pull in right above the pants, okay, right above the belt line. Tighten that core, shoulder blades slightly back and down, head up in a good neutral position. From here, and remember, you can release those glutes once you have all that. This is a really strong braced position. Some other things it does too is if I walk into a room kind of relaxed, it's like, what are you communicating versus walking into a room in like a braced position? It conveys a lot more confidence, a lot more surety, and other things like that. It's not necessarily important as far as the lifting, just a fun fact to know. Are we still braced? Awesome. So when you're going about your normal daily routine, we want 2 out of 10 intensity with that bracing. Try to maintain it as often as you can think of. If you lose it, you forget it, don't worry, it's going to happen for the rest of your life. Just whenever you think about it, pull it in. The bigger thing I want to make sure we're doing is anytime we're active, doing yard work, moving rocks, doing landscaping, any type of housework, you want to make sure you have that bracing. Because one thing we're going to try to do real quick is if you're still in that bracing, great. If you're not, pull it back in. Imagine picking something, go ahead and pick something off the floor, some pretend thing, but keeping that bracing. So go ahead and reach down like you would to pick that up. And then go ahead and release it all, and now pick up whatever you would pick up off the floor. A lot of times for some of us, there might be a big change, some of us not as often. But when you're in that braced position, it almost forces you to move in a more mechanically sound way because you're holding and your muscles are activated within the move. So you're going to push those hips back, keep that neutral spine. You might need to twist to get to whatever it is versus a lot of times when you lose that bracing, you might just round at the back, bend over. And that's where you can have a lot of potential issues, low back, lumbar, any discs in there, things like that. It's not usually any big event that you have a low back injury. It's usually I drop my keys, I went to pick them up and snap, it happened. I'm in physical therapy and 6 months later I'm out and I'm working on this stuff. So really be intentional remembering, keep that bracing, okay? Really important in classes. As far as some of the main movements we're going to do, we're going to kind of go through them with class as we kind of bring up new movements. But the main one we're going to talk about a little bit today is the hip hinge. So with the hip hinge, basically all that is hinging from the hip, okay? So what we're going to do, still braced? Dope. Slight bend in those knees, we're braced, okay? And what we're going to do without letting the knees bend anymore, and it can be helpful to turn sideways if you want to see so you can tell if you're bending those knees. but just that slight bend in the knees, and then push those hips back, drop that torso, weight even on the feet, keep that neutral spine on that low back. Shoulder blades will stay back and down like that brace position, and this is a strong hip hinge. One thing though, where your glutes on. So we really want to think about anytime we're hinging, make sure to keep those glutes strong, activated within that position. One, keeping that brace is going to protect a lot of that strain from going right into the low back. If you're in a brace position, right when you lose it, you'll feel the belly drop, you'll feel that weight shift from those muscles a lot of times into that low back. So that's going to be one of the biggest things we want to make sure we're paying attention to, that bracing and that hip hinge, okay? Any questions on any of that? Any questions are good. No? Okay, perfect. So for the first movement we have today is going to be shoulder press. So brace position as always. Anytime we're pressing overhead, there's a big susceptibility to injury, and I've heard a lot of times from a lot of people, it's super common, I'm really weak anytime I go to do overhead movements. A lot of that is just from not having a strong foundation for that press or whatever the overhead movement is. So when we're braced, if we have that weight, the biggest thing we want to remember, shoulder blades backing down. We want strong tension in between that area, okay? And from there, you're going to brace, and you can press straight up. You don't have to have the elbows really far back or anything. They can be in a comfortable front position as long as you're keeping that tension in between those shoulder blades. And when we press up, we don't want to shrug those shoulders, okay? Keep those scapula back and down and really power from the shoulders. Once you start shrugging, you're pulling the traps in the neck into that movement, and that's not necessarily what we're working for here. They want to do it because we're stressed all the flipping time, and so they're wicked strong compared to a lot of other muscles. We want to try to take them out of it a little bit and really press those areas that we're working on. For any movements, if you get tired, you can alternate. So if you start with 2, you get too tired, just go to 1, okay? Gives you a little bit more rest on those. Next movement we have are those bent over rows. So remembering with this one, we're hinging at that hip, weights even on that feet, slight bend in those knees, we're braced. And today we're doing a low row. So we'll have the dumbbells in our hands here, okay? And we're pulling the elbows back and up. You can almost feel those lats activate. In a good way, and we'll do this together to feel those lats activate, in that brace position, think of squeezing those elbows in towards your body. Almost like flexing those lats on the side and pulling in. So go ahead and go for that real quick. See if you can pull that in. Can you feel this muscle on that side activating a little bit? Another way, if you're not feeling it, is if you go overhead, pull the elbows back and then down, and then squeeze those elbows into the body from this position. You're going to feel a lot. Really try to pull those elbows in. You're going to feel a lot of engagement through those lats. That's that muscle we're trying to activate with that movement, okay? Next movement, we have push-ups. So with push-ups, biggest thing here, shoulder blades back and down, and then roll that chest up into a position, okay? Once you drop that chest, you're done for it. You're pushing with your shoulders, you're pushing with your triceps. 1, they're a lot weaker. 2, there's a lot more chance for injury with that movement. So we'll get into this position. So think shoulder blades back and down, okay? The chest is up, and then hands are going to be underneath the chest. Anytime if you're going to push up, if the hands go too high above the face or around the face, once you go to push, you've lost all ability to use those muscles, and you're having to press through your neck, your traps, your shoulders, and your triceps out here. So when you're pressing, hands low below the chest. And so if I'm in a push-up position, I want the hands below my chest as well at about this position. If you come higher out here, there's like almost no way to keep those elbows in. You have to flare those elbows wide. So when we come down, we want those elbows between like 90, 45, somewhere within this area, okay? Not sure. Somebody tell me what angle that is. This is 90. This is not quite 45. Maybe 45 is like right here. Whatever this comfortability is, to be able to keep that position, hands under the chest, that's what you want. Start with either modified push-ups, lay-down push-ups, or kneeling push-ups if you can't keep that positioning through a full push-up. So you don't want to strengthen the wrong movement patterns in the wrong ways using the wrong muscles. You might be weaker at first, but within 4, 6, 8 weeks, you're going to be a heck of a lot stronger. Next one we have after that is going to be either squatted lunges or regular lunges. So when we're thinking about lunging, the biggest thing we want to think about, weight is going to stay even on the foot of our front leg, okay? So we're coming down, not letting that heel come up, not letting that toe come up, keeping that knee in line with that toe, don't want it caving in, okay? And keeping that glute active and actively controlling that. It doesn't matter how far you get. If you can't get all the way down, that's fine. Go as far as you can, keep that control. Each class you can work on getting a little bit lower, getting a little bit more muscle activation with that movement. If you want to do squatted lunges, feel free. All it is going from a lunge into a low squat. into a low lunge. So you can increase that intensity a bit if you want to go for that. Last movement we have is going to be low plank into boat pose. So when we're in low plank, let's actually all come down for this one because it's hard to explain without feeling it. So if we're down on our stomachs here and we get up into a position where we're going to be in a low plank, go ahead and pop up into that low plank and we're braced. Squeeze those glutes, and now think of pulling your elbows towards your feet and feet towards your elbows, like crunching that core and squeezing the floor together in between you. Feel your body start to shake a lot, and it's a lot higher intensity through the core. That's what we want to be activating. You can take a rest. That's what we want to be activating within that movement, because we can sit there and hold that position and put some strain on our shoulders and hold that position. But what we really, if we want to work that core, really pull that contraction into that low plank, okay? You can get a lot more out of that core strength. And then the last one we have, boat pose. We just want to really make sure here we're not rounding that low back, okay? We don't want that low back popping out, so pull that low back in. Again, roll that chest up, shoulder blades back and down. And from here, you can control as far of a lean back as you want. If you want more help, you can put the hands forward. If you don't want more help, you can keep them back. And if you have a wicked strong core, you can lift those legs. I don't think I could do that. Maybe. You could try, but I don't think it's going to happen. And you can also lift one leg at a time if you want. But the biggest thing, we don't want that low back popping out. The second that low back pops out, rounds out, all that tension you're holding goes right to that point. Okay, so that's the big reason we're pulling it up and in. Any questions on any of those movements? Sweet. So as I said, this is the first class. This one's a bit shorter since we have a bit more education. So be ready for that. Next class we'll have a bit more workout content. Let's get started. All right, we're going to start with some jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. Remember to stay braced through the full class as much as you can. You can start here. You can lower that impact if you want by getting rid of that jumping. Nice job. I know for me it's mostly my ankles that can't hang at the start. Air squats. Pushing those hips back and down. Knees are going to stay in line with those toes. You don't overly need to force that torso up. Wherever it wants to go is totally fine. Keep those glutes on. Knees in line with the toe. Weight even on those feet. Stay braced. Nice job. Keep those glutes braced at the top. Keep them engaged. Marches. So we're just driving that knee up. Think of utilizing that core to put a little bit of power into that knee drive. We also want to pay attention to our bounce. We don't want to have a lot of side to side. A little bit's fine, but we really want to control that stance, that balance. Lunges, alternating. So you can step forward or back with lunges. If you ever have pain in the front of your knee, try stepping backwards instead of forwards. Help shift that weight a little bit, change it up. And remember, glute on, braced, weight even on that front leg. Nice job. Think control, balance, strong movements. Arm circles. Full range of motion here. Reverse, opposite direction. And people at home, I realized I didn't go over at-home movements. I'll do it after the warm-up. Inchworms into push-ups. So if you've never done this movement, no worries. We don't want to round the low back, so we want to bend the knees, walk out into a plank, and we're just starting to warm up. So we can do a modified push-up, and then we're walking up into that hamstring stretch, calf stretch, and walking back down into that push-up. job. Remember at those push-ups, hands underneath the chest, a little bit wider and shoulder width apart. We don't want them directly underneath of us. And jumping jacks. Round 2. Starting to pick up that tempo a little bit. Maybe a little closer to 65, 70%. Remember to stay braced. Don't lose that bracing. Air squats. As we pick up the tempo, doesn't mean we're losing control here. Still have that slight pause at the bottom. Control it down and then up. Keep those glutes on. Marches. You can pick up that tempo, but keep that control. Power through that core. Maintain balance. Maintain control. Lunges, alternating. If you feel strong in that balance, you can add a twist, okay? Add a little bit of thoracic rotation here. If you do, twist towards the side of that knee that's in front. And it's a slow, controlled twist. Stay embraced, glutes still on. Weight even on that front leg. Arm circles, full range of motion. Reverse, opposite direction. One thing is we don't want to rotate the torso. Keep that torso squared and really reach. Inchworms into those push-ups. Remember, hands a little bit wider and shoulder width apart. Under the chest, not under the face. Shoulder blades pulled back and down for that push-up. Think about trying to activate that chest. Take a break. Nice, we have 1 minute and we're into that shoulder press. One thing I forgot to talk a little bit about, activating that chest. So go ahead and get into that brace position, shoulder blades stay back and down. You have your hands low, think of trying to squeeze your upper arm into your chest together. So if you have your hands together, you don't want the shoulders forward. Remember, shoulders back and then press them together. You can feel the muscle right here on the side of the pec kind of turn on, start to activate. Remember, keep those shoulders down. We don't want to rise them up. From here, push together. Does anybody, can you kind of feel that turn on a little bit? Okay, cool. So that's something we're gonna, when we get to the push-ups, that's where you're wanting to power from. Shoulder press into bent over rows in 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Remember, we're braced, so shoulder blades are gonna stay back and down. Keep those glutes strong. Think of drawing power from the floor up to your body, press it up through the ceiling. Nice job. Weight even on those feet. Bent over row. So we're dropping that weight down. Pushing those hips back, dropping that torso, pulling those elbows back and up here. Nice job. Nice work. Nice, stay with it, stay with it. Nice job. Shoulder press. We're back up. Keep that body braced, strong. If you ever notice it's getting really hard, check your bracing. You might have lost that strength through the body. Bent over row. We're back down. As you get tired, you might notice you start to creep up, up. Keep that torso down. Nice. Squeeze those scapula together at the top. Shoulder press. We're 2 sets in, 2 to go. Nice job. Bent over rows. If you get tired, you can start to alternate. Nice job. One thing to think of when you're doing that row, try to keep that wrist underneath that elbow. So if you turn sideways, you don't want your hands up here. Want them underneath. Shoulder press. Last set. Let's go. Get a rest after this. Don't lose that bracing. Power from your feet through the floor, through the glutes, the core. Bent over rows. Last movement. Nice job. Stay braced here. Try to keep your tempo. Take a break. Woo. Nice work. First round done. Coming up next, push-ups into those lunges. Remember, shoulder width apart, shoulder blades back and down, keep that chest up. And as you push, don't let those shoulders round forward or drop forward, okay? Once you do, that chest deactivates, shoulder and tricep take over, which one are a lot weaker, 2, more susceptibility for injury as you're pushing that way. We have 30 seconds. Grab a drink. Keep a little bit of movement. What I like to say too is start with a lay down push-up. If you can keep your form, go to a kneeling push-up. If you can still keep that form, go to a full. Down push-up is if you're starting here or here, you just come all the way down until you lay down, and then you can kind of help get yourself back up and lay back down. So you're just kind of working on that negative way down. Yeah. And in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Is Keep that knee in line with that toe. Don't let those heels come up on that front leg. And keep the weight on the front foot. Don't shift that weight back into the back leg. Nice job. Keep that glute on. Switch back into those push-ups. Shoulder blades back and down. Hands underneath the chest. A little bit more in shoulder width apart. Don't let those shoulders roll forward, remember. Power through that chest. Nice job. Stay with it. Lunges. Same thing, weights even on that front leg. Keep that glute on. Anytime we have movements like this, if you feel comfortable, you can add more weight. You can hold weight on one side or both. It's up to you. You can increase that intensity if you want. Nice. Push-ups, we're down.
I guess I'm still high. Okay. High on you.
Are we still braced? Keep that bracing. Good job. Lunges. We're up. Weight even. Front leg. Glute on. Knee in line with that toe. Stay braced. Let's go. Find your tempo. Try to keep it. Push-ups. Last round, let's go. Stay braced. Tension in the chest, don't want those shoulders round. Lunges. Let's go. Last one. Keep that glute on. Stay braced. Take a break. Nice. Keep that little movement. Grab a drink. Getting ready for that last round. We got low plank into that boat pose. Remember, with that plank, engage those glutes, keep that core strong, pull that floor together, squeeze in those elbows to the feet, feet to the elbows, but pulling from the core, not all from the arms. Use that core, crunching together. We got 10 seconds. We got this, y'all. A little bit of core work, and we're done in 5. Not done in 5, starting in 5. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Here, squeeze those glutes, power through that core, squeeze that floor together. Make that body shake, let's go. Stay with it. Boat pose. Switching over. Low back pulled in. We're into that position. You can go back as far as you can control, but don't let that low back pop out. Pull it in. Shoulder blades back and down. Chest up. Let's go. We're still braced. Pelvic floor up and in. Core strong. Low plank. Let's go, let's go. Squeeze those glutes. Tighten that bracing, that core. Crunch that floor together. Boat pose. Woo. We got this, y'all. Come on. Brace, pelvic floor up and in, core strong. Shoulder blades back and down. If you're getting tired, you can always grab on. It's a little much to hold on to, just keep it here. Just hold on as much as you need. Don't lose that bracing. Low plank. We're halfway. 2 sets, y'all. That's all we got left. And then it's cool down time. Boat pose. Woo. Anybody else's core just dead right now? Oh my gosh. Pull that low back in. We're braced. Keep that low back pulled up and in. Stay braced. Let's go, let's go. Low plank. Last set, y'all. We got this. Let's go. Come on. Squeeze those glutes. Power up that body. Crunch together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Boat pose. Oh, Nelly. Last one. Come on. Stay braced. Pelvic floor up and in, core strong, low back pulled in, shoulder blades back and down. Come on. 7 seconds. You got this. Stay with it. Take a break. Woo. That'll work a core. My peeps at home. Nice job today. Nice work. Feel free to grab a drink, wipe down your equipment, and get ready for that cool down. Nice job. Nice job. I feel that. The one leg pull up. Nice job. Nice job. Go and start to slow that breathing down. Working on breathing in through the nose, down into the belly, and out through the mouth. If you want to keep that mat out for stretching, feel free. If you find any black streaks on the floor from the dumbbells, just help out facilities. Clean those up. Oh, my peeps at home, I never gave you the non-weight movements. I hope you had weight today. It's the first one back. I'll get it next time. My bad. Hopefully you're still able to follow along with us. Go ahead and start to slow or continue to slow that breathing down. Remembering when we're working on slowing that breath, we don't want to breathe through the traps, the chest, the shoulders. You'll notice if you do, you kind of bring it all up. Try to keep that relaxed. Breathe into that belly. The belly expand. And when you're ready, we're going to start with some deeper breaths. Inhaling through the nose on the way up. Exhaling through the mouth on the way down. Feel free to find your own tempo here. Don't need to match mine, don't need to match your neighbors. Listen to your body. On that next exhale, we're going to pull that arm across. Remember to keep that shoulder blade back and down. We're working on stretching the back side of the shoulder, not the back here. Through all these stretches, let's try to keep those breaths, that slight braced posture, just about a 2 out of 10 intensity. And on each exhale, stretch a little deeper into whatever position you're in. When you're ready, go and release and switch. When you're ready, go ahead and release. You're going to pull that first arm behind, grab that elbow, stretch that tricep, bring that opposite hand in between those shoulder blades as close as you can reach anyways. One thing with this stretch is if you notice, you're kind of bent forward all like this, really open up. When you're ready, go and release and switch. Another thing with this one, we don't want to shrug those shoulders. So if you find you're shrugging them really tense, let them relax. Let them drop down. When you're ready, go ahead and release those arms. We're going to bring those hands behind the back. Interlock those fingers, shoulder blades back and down, chest up and open. We're going to roll that head and neck here. Breathe. Finding where that's particularly tight, still feel free to hang out there for a second. When you're ready, we're going to release and inhale up and in. On that exhale, we're going to push those hips back, come down into a full floor squat, working on keeping those heels down on the floor. If you can't quite get the heels down into this position, that's okay. You can stay up on the toes. You can keep those hands down a little bit. And over time, work and be able to get a little bit deeper within that position. If you're able to get the heels down, want more of an inner thigh stretch, you can put those elbows to the inside of the knees, bring those palms together, press those palms down, open up those hips. Release. We've hit 6 o'clock. We're just going to do 2 more stretches. We'll cut stretches a little bit short today. We're going to bring that right knee up underneath with that foot across. And then we're going to extend that back leg, push those hips down into the floor. Remember, we're trying to bring that foot across the body a little bit. And relax. Breathe into that position. As your body releases, if you like, you can always take it a little bit lower. But we want to try to keep that low back pulled in. So we don't want to go lower if we're having to round that low back. Keep it pulled in. Drop down into the floor. can slowly bring yourself up out of that position. Tuck that back foot. We're going to step that leg back and bring that opposite knee under with that foot coming across. Extend that back leg back. Drop those hips into the floor. And as you're able, you can bring yourself deeper into that stretch, closer to the mat. Slowly come up out of that stretch into that plank. We're going to walk those hands into those feet. If you want to stay and continue to stretch, feel free. We are at the time, so we're going to close down class. We're going to finish with those last 3 breaths. Inhale through the nose, into the belly on the way up. Exhale through the mouth on the way down. Each one of these breaths, inhaling a little bit deeper, exhaling out a little bit further. Nice job today, everybody. Good work. If you're with us here online, thank you for being here. As a reminder, normally we'll have a little bit more time for stretching, went a little long on the education pieces, and we will have 4 rounds that we do within this class. But don't forget homework for the day. Drink lots of water tonight. Eat a good full dinner, and at least 6 hours of sleep, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a nice night.